Yeah, I thought we would start with a headbanger. Hello, folks. How are you all doing? Welcome here to catch up, recap, so to speak, of the Young Thug RICO-Trial. And we left off Friday just before lunch and kind of said whatever could be interesting. Oh, it got interesting. We got a liar, pants on fire on the stand. So we will talk a bit about that, I thought. But also, in a few days, there will be a new trial I'm going to start to cover. It is Florida versus Wade Wilson. Now, that's a name you might recognize. Wade Wilson. Isn't that Deadpool? Yeah, that's the name of the character behind Deadpool. He's not on. No. Oh no. No, he is not on trial. It is a double homicide in Florida, and I will start to, let's see here. Where is it? No, not that one. Didn't I? Oh, there it is. I will show. It is this guy. That looks like an upstanding citizen, doesn't it? Well, he is accused of, with a few days apart, to have ended the lives of 2 women. And so I'm going to start to cover that trial as well, because I've been covering the Young Thug trial for 6 months now. I will keep covering it, gavel to gavel, live or recaps. But I need some change. And this seems to be a case with solid evidence and a good prosecutor. So that will start in a few days. Now, I will still do my recaps. Don't you worry. I told you last year I will cover the Young Thug case gavel to gavel. But I do need some variation. I really do. So that will be interesting, because somehow I don't think he will do a good impression on the jury. And here's what you might not know. He didn't look like that before he went to jail. He shows most of the things in his face while in jail. Yeah, clever guy. Yeah, so that will start in a few days. It is a jury selection now. It will take 1 or 2 days, and then it will start Wednesday or Thursday. Then Thursday is Swedish National Day. So I will do some interesting thing about that as well. Okay, but I assume we are all here right now, at least, to see who is this liar, pants on fire. And yeah, so let's go right into it, folks. Welcome to the show. I just realized I still have the name of I use on my secondary channel. There I am. Dun dun dun. There he is, spineless Judge Glanville. All right. Now, first, we will have not the liar pants on fire, but another one of these witnesses that has no bearing to the case. He is another witness to the Donovan Thomas shooting, but he is basically evidentiary, meaning he has no value. But let's listen for a bit of it, at least. Here he comes to the stand.
Mr. Wise, good afternoon, sir. Sir, if you would please approach the witness stand.
And
Once you
Mr.
get to the
Wise.
witness stand, if you would be so kind to turn and face Sergeant
Which
Brown
might
and
be
be sworn as a
ironic.
witness, please, sir.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that testimony and/or statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I will see you get adjusted to the microphone. Scoot up close to the microphone. State your first and last name and spelling them both for the court.
Derek Wise, DERRICKWISE.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wise.
Good afternoon,
Where are you from?
Atlanta,
What part of Atlanta?
West Side.
And where'd you go to high school?
Ain't but one high school, that's Booker T. Washington.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
all right. Did you graduate?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go after you attended D. Booker T. Washington High School?
Went to Atlanta Technical Institute.
And did you graduate from that?
Yes,
When?
98,
And what was your degree?
associate degree in business and involved in cosmetology.
Oh,
Are you currently employed?
Yes,
What do you do?
I'm a barber full time.
And where do you work?
A&M Barbershop,
And where's that barbershop located?
338 McDaniel, Atlanta, Georgia.
yes, I'm Nick. I'm not
How
Nick.
long, have you been
I'm not
practicing?
that Nick, and this is the only code you will see on my stream.
30 years,
Non-stop?
non-stop.
And how long have you been cutting at A&M Barbershop?
26 years.
How did you get your job at A&M Barbershop?
Mr. George,
Does Mr. George have a last name?
George Axon.
Is who owns the A&M Barbershop?
Mr. George Axon.
Is he still with us today?
No, he's deceased.
Okay. And
Yeah, I have this on 1.25 speed. They are really this slow. And I'm talking about the prosecutor, not
and while
me.
that is being published, you'll see it on the screen momentarily. In what county is A&M Barbershop located?
It's in Fulton County.
Okay, to your left, there's a screen, and if you would be as kind to show what this screen can do. It's a smart screen. You can press these, and you can draw anywhere on it, and it'll put a mark on the screen. Okay. Can you please put an X next to A&M Barbershop if you see it? All right. And utilizing State's Exhibit 6Y, do you see any other barbershops that you know of on this same street?
Yes,
What other barbershop do you see?
Hair Unlimited.
And where's Harold Limited? Put a circle on where you see it.
Yeah, and then he goes on to talk about, well, he grew up there, he knows the area, he hid behind the door, and then it was a sidebar. And that brings us to sidebar counter 192. Oh, that's so.
But so that's when Reverend Foster, he was telling him, we was telling him to fight for his life.
Right, that would be a justice question. I'm over the objection.
We was just telling him to fight for his life. Fight. Reverend Foster directly at him was telling him to fight. Because like I said, he's the pastor, you know, he was just telling him, you know, fight. You got something to live for, fight.
Did you see where Nut was wounded?
Yes,
Where was he wounded?
up under his, somewhere like up under his armpit, right?
Is
Toward
that
the
the
back.
left or the right side?
I don't know if it's the left or the right, but I'm saying up under.
Yeah, and he describes where he believes he saw injuries. And then again, for the third time, they are showing the same video, because apparently this is not cumulative according to Judge Glanville, showing it over and over and over again. And this is the slimmed down version of the prosecution's case. Imagine how many times they wanted to play this if Judge Glanville hadn't put a stop to it. And then there was a break. They get back. Jury's back. It's junior prosecutors whose name I still don't know. They're taking their sweet time. Yeah, GD, this is so prejudicial to keep
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
playing the same video over and over again when it's only necessary to play it once to get it into evidence. Judge Glanville knows it, but he doesn't care because he is a part of the prosecution's team. As Mr. J. Skim says, the truth don't need coaching. Exactly. Hi, Dave, over at Rumble. Yes, I am at Rumble as well, streaming Rumble, Twitter, YouTubes. So you can pick your poison. I mean, if you have a good case, you don't need coaching. You let the evidence speak for itself. You can say, we found the fingerprint and the DNA on the gun and it belonged to that person. So far, none of that. Of the 6 months of the prosecution's team, not a single trace of DNA, fingerprint, hair, nothing connects the defendants to these crimes.
I'll do it for the couple.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, Mr. Brown, you may continue, sir.
Mr. Barber, just a few questions related to some of the things that we were talking about earlier. Do you remember talking about, before we broke, a little bit about the gate that is adjacent to the barber shop?
Yes.
And I want to ask you, around what time did Mr. George usually close that gate on your day?
We pretty much close at 8, but if it's slow around 7 or whatever, he'll get ready, make preparation to close it.
Hey,
And around
Paul.
what time
Hey,
did you close it on
Ayana.
January 10, 2015?
The J Scheme
It
reform.
could have been close to
in the
7 when I moved it out.
house.
Okay. And would the time that
Gigi, of
Mr.
course, my first and best
around
moderator.
the time that Nut moved his vehicle would have been
Alicia
around about that time,
Fee.
just before the gate was closed?
Yes.
To be sure,
Diogo,
what would you say?
earlier. Gwendolyn is here.
How long it took him to move his car?
About what time? You think he would-
And
in relation to when
a
Mr.
bunch of
George
other
closed that
people.
gate?
Hit the like button.
I don't know the exact time, but like
All
I said,
the
anywhere
YouTube
between
things.
7-ish.
Just a few more questions. About how long would you say that it takes you to cut guys' hair?
That's actually the 4th time he said just a few more questions. He said it before lunch and he says it now. Or before the break and he says it now.
At the barber shop. Let me rephrase the question. About how long did it take you to cut the customer's hair that you had in your chair?
Okay, his name is
after you
District
cut-
Attorney Brown.
after Nut's
And
hair
I
was
will
cut?
forget that.
Mr. George got through with Nut
I
first,
don't care.
and probably about 10 or 15 minutes after that, I was through with the gentleman.
Were you paying attention to the
I mean, the most interesting thing about his direct examination on Friday was that the judge had to tell him how to ask questions. The judge had to tell him twice who, what, when, where, why. And that's a horror. The horror as an assistant district attorney with 3 years on the job and not be, and you can't ask proper questions.
It's at time that, not left the barbershop?
No,
All right.
I mean, just regular time.
Okay. All right, just a few questions related to the barbershop that you spoke about. In terms of
Just
things
a
you
few
spoke about earlier
questions.
before we
Just a
go.
few more questions.
You don't talk about a lot of things inside the barbershop with your customers.
Absolutely.
And do you tend to go to the police and tell them, did you go to the police, excuse me, and tell them what you remember that night?
No, sir.
Okay. Oh, why not?
I mean, that's not my duty to go to the police, but if they come and like when that situation happened, they got all our IDs and all our identities and they interviewed us right on the spot.
Did you even want to testify here today? Your Honor, relevance bias, show absence. That's our rule objection. You can answer that question.
No.
Okay. Why not?
I mean, because I just felt like I didn't see anything and I didn't participate in it until just me being a citizen, just trying to render aid. But I didn't want to stop my money to come down here, but when y'all subpoenaed me, I had to come.
Yeah, another example of the prosecution in their attempt to look at all these witnesses. That means we have a case. They interrupt this man's day. He's supposed to be at work earning money. But no, he has to be there for hours for this pile of garbage.
Is talking to the police something that
This is
is
wage.
popular for
You know what? This is wage theft from the prosecution. Because they're not going to get paid. They have to sit there hour after hour waiting to testify about nothing. So this is not disrespectful to Donovan Thomas, but this guy has a family to feed. And the prosecution does not care because they get paid. They don't care.
do a motion picture.
Objection.
I was Mr. Sharp, Mr. Adams, Ms. Weaver. I sustain the objection.
Why did you tell Reverend Parker to lock your door behind you?
Reverend who?
Why did you tell Reverend Foster?
Bro, okay, Reverend
My
Foster.
apologies.
Got to put some respect on his name.
Yes, sir, I put it on all of them. Why, so you can answer the question, why did you tell him lock?
Lock the door?
Yes,
What do you mean?
did you tell Reverend Foster to lock the door at any point during this incident on January 10th, 2015?
No, when I went out the door, Reverend Foster came behind me out the door
Got it.
to go render some aid and see what's going on.
I am going to now show you what has been previously marked.
Oh God, he's going to impeach him with something he
292
said.
Yankee Alpha 1, 292 Yankee Alpha 2,
It's
292
Pinton.
Yankee Alpha 3, and there's an amendment that needs to be made here. And I approach the defense counsel that has been previously called out for the purposes of the record, that they may have an opportunity to view the same.
Yeah, and if you just joined here, you know the YouTuber things. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. And I really deserve it. I've been covering this
Thank you,
for
sir.
over a
I'm
year
now approaching
now.
the witness with 292 Yankee Alpha 1, 2, and 3.
I'm very appreciative of
Mr.
you being
Wise,
here.
Please take a moment to look at what I've handed you, and then once you've had the opportunity to do so,
I
please
just
look at
need
me.
a little favor of you to thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.
What are states exhibits 292 Yankee Alpha 1 through 3?
It's a picture of the barbershop and some people that's there.
Do those appear to be still images from the surveillance footage that we showed you earlier?
Yes, still footage.
Oh,
And does that,
Jesus
do those
Christ.
pictures, that have been appropriately labeled states exhibits 292 Yankee Alpha 1 through 3 fairly and accurately depict the area where you were located on January 10, 2015, around or about 330 McDaniel Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit states exhibits 292 Yankee Alpha 1 through 3 and request permission to publish the same subject to your rule.
Any objection or further objection to states 292 Yankee Alpha 1, 2, or 3? All right, I'll rule that objection. I'll give you continued objection.
Of course.
Admit over objection may be published.
Samuel.
Thank you, Ryan. Right, starting with States Exhibit 292 Yankee Alpha 1, which you can view probably in a better way to the left of you on the screen, Mr. Wise. All right, and I'll bring it in a second, Pierce. Okay, all right, no problem. Mr. Wise, can you tell me ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the time stamp that is at the top of this still image that has been labeled States Exhibit 292 Yankee Alpha 1?
8:10, 46 seconds.
Is that AM or PM associated with that time stamp?
PM.
Okay, and do you see any persons or that you can identify or recognize in this picture?
Yes.
Who do you see in this picture?
I see me, Reverend Foster, and D.
Okay, if you would be as kind to put an arrow by yourself. If you, let me do. Make sure it's compliant. This has a mind of its own. If you would be as kind to put an arrow by yourself. And are you wearing what appears to be like what color are you wearing?
I don't know. It's just can't tell exactly. what
Okay,
color it is.
all right. Now published in States Exhibit 292
How
Yankee Alpha.
is this not cumulative? It is stills from the video the jury has seen 3 times. How is this not cumulative? Now,
Who do you see in this picture?
let's
Reverend Foster.
skip ahead. Because now let's go to the interesting part. Because this guy, no cross-examination, because there's no need. There's no need. Now, someone interesting shows up. You're in for a treat here, folks. You do not want to miss this.
Hendricks is stand.
Reginald Hendricks. Summon Mr. Hendricks, please.
Mr. Hendricks.
Mr. Hendricks, good afternoon, sir. Up here. Come on up. Sir, if you would please approach the witness stand, and once you get there, before you sit down, turn and face Deputy Hand to be sworn as a witness, sir.
Sometimes I wonder if the guards are there for the witnesses more than for the defendant.
Please state your first and last name and spell it both for the record.
Reginald Hendricks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hendricks. How you doing?
All right.
Can you tell the jury where you're from?
John Hope Home, Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, what part of Atlanta is John Hope?
Castleberry.
Castleberry?
Yes.
What are some other neighborhoods around Castleberry?
Mechanicsville and Pittsburgh.
Okay. Now,
This guy have had a hard life.
that you grew up on?
Northside Drive.
Okay. Is that the north, is there a McDaniel Street near Northside Drive?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go to school in that area?
I went on John Kerry. I went on Kennedy Middle School.
Okay. And you have any siblings?
Yes.
How many?
5.
Are you the oldest, youngest, or
The youngest.
youngest? Now, do you still live near that area today?
Yes, I'm close by.
Growing up in that area, did you get to know a lot of the people that live in Castleberry near Northside Drive?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that area in terms of businesses and shops in that area?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar, well, let me ask you this before that. Growing up, what did you do for a living?
I sold drugs.
Okay. What area or what part of the city did you sell drugs?
On McDaniel Street.
On McDaniel Street?
Yes.
What part of McDaniel Street?
Right there by the Texaco.
Oh, great. A witness who was a
Now,
drug dealer at the
How often
time.
would you be out at that Texaco?
The credibility is
back then?
already there.
By 8 o'clock around.
And I mean, he's not worse than most cops who has been on the stand. I will give him that. But that tells more about the absolute horse shit that is the cops' testimony in this trial, that they are not better than this. Let's just say former crack addict. I can't swear to the former or to crack, but Yep, he has
About
had a
7
hard
or 8
life.
o'clock.
So is that 8 in the morning till 7 or 8 at night?
Yes, sir.
How many days a week?
Probably about 5 or 6.
Being out there 5, 6 days a week, did you get to know other people who frequent that area?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you?
Now, this is also interesting. If he were at that bar, at the area that is supposedly under YSL control, where is his colors? Why isn't he indicted? Maybe because this former drug dealer had nothing to do with them and nobody cared. How about that? RICO charge thingy.
Do you have any convictions in the past 10 years?
Yes.
What do you have?
Criminal damage.
So property, a theft by taking, does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
Is that from 2023, does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you have a 2018 possession of marijuana in Tennessee Street?
Yes, sir.
Now, how many years would you say that you sold drugs or spent time at Texaco?
About 10.
10. Orienting back to January 10th, 2015, was that a time that you frequented that area a lot?
Yes.
Did you ever know the owner of that Texaco gas station?
Yes, sir.
Remember his name?
Gary.
Did you ever know any of the barbershops near that Texaco?
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna publish case exhibit, it's already admitted, is 90 Yankee. So Mr. Hendricks, there's gonna be a photograph that comes up on your immediate left. And you tell me,
In your
if you
direction.
recognize that location.
That man down your street.
Is that the Texaco you were just discussing?
Yes, sir.
Now, what barbershops are nearby that Texaco?
Mr. George and Noah Barbershop.
And which barbershop did you go to, if either of those?
Mr. George,
How long did you go to Mr. George's barbershop?
since I was a little boy.
Now, who would cut your hair at Mr. George's barbershop?
Mr. George,
Why did you go to Mr. George?
he always all cutting my hair since I was a little boy.
Did you get familiar, get to know people that also went to Mr. George's barbershop?
Yes, sir.
Would you ever spend any time other than Texaco in between the Texaco and the barbershops in the parking lot or sidewalk?
Yes, sir.
Did you get familiar with people who would hang out in those locations?
It wasn't nothing but the regular people from the neighborhood.
If someone who wasn't a regular person from the neighborhood was over that way, would they stick out or not stick out?
They won't stick out like that. Cause really everybody from the neighborhood gonna be right.
So if you had someone who was from outside the neighborhood, would you recognize that?
Yeah, you'll recognize them quick. Everybody get to looking like who that is. Well,
Are you familiar with Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta?
yes, sir.
Are you familiar with any street gangs from that part of the city?
Yes, sir.
Which ones?
Rock crew,
Any others?
YSL.
Did you know any Rock Crew or YSL members in your time in the streets?
Yes.
Who?
Little boy,
Buck Buck?
yeah.
How did you end up knowing him?
He from university. A lot of when they tore down on university, we went there.
Did you know anyone else other than Buck Buck?
Wilbur, that's his brother.
Okay. Now, would people from Cleveland Avenue or anyone in Rock Crew or YSL ever hang out in Texaco?
No, sir.
Would they ever hang out at the barbershop, Mr. George's, or Hair Unlimited, 330 McCain Street?
No, sir.
On January 10th, 2015, would people from YSL Rock Crew ever hang out at either of those three locations?
No, sir.
Did you ever know someone
There are actually
whose
evidence
name is
they
Donovan Thomas, also known as
mingled,
Donovan Thomas?
maybe not at
Yes,
that
sir.
exact spots,
How
but
did you know him?
Childhood friend.
What did you call him?
Nut, peanut,
Did he have any nicknames for you?
Guido.
Did anyone else call you Guido besides Nut?
No, sir.
If you had to ballpark, how old were you when you met Mr. Thomas?
About 15. He was about 13.
Did he grow up near where you did?
Yeah, he stayed at the bar. I stayed at the top.
And what do you mean by that? He said at the bottom.
Bottom of the apartment in University Hall.
Did you all go to school together?
No, sir.
Did you know his mother, Miss Evans?
Yes, sir.
How did you know her?
Like, we used to go down here house and play the game. We used to play in front of the yard and stuff.
Did you ever spend any time staying at Miss Evans' residence?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
When I had got shot the first time, I had stayed over there.
What year was that?
Like 2012 or 13.
And
No, it was about 2010 when I first got shot.
and real briefly, what kind of situation was that? What happened?
I had somebody try to rob with
Wait,
a.
wait, there's an objection.
Your Honor, it's relevant to explain, you just mentioned being shot, so that's.
Okay, all right. Overrule the objection.
Mr. Hendricks, you may answer that.
Sir,
Mr. Hendricks, you may answer that question.
I ain't hear what he said.
He said basically, he overruled the defense counsel's objection. So when you were talking about being shot the first time, what was the circumstances of that brief?
This guy is here for one reason alone: to testify about the Donovan Thomas thing. And that is what the prosecution told the defense. And what does the prosecution do? They go sideways into, oh, have you ever been shot? As that has any relevance to him being a witness to the Donovan Thomas thing. It doesn't. But the judge allows it because it's prejudicial towards the defendants, and he will allow that because he has no spine and he is a part of the prosecution's team.
What happened?
Oh, somebody tried to rob me.
And after that, did you spend time in Miss Evans' house?
Yeah, when I had got shot, I had left the house while I went on straight over their house.
And they let you stay there?
Yes, sir.
Did you know Mr. Donovan Thomas Sr., God's father?
Yes, sir.
Now, where would Nut get his haircut?
Mr. Jordan.
Now, back in, how often would you see Mr. Thomas? Back in January of 2015.
Every day. Every other day, he'll pull up.
And is that similar in terms of 2014 or 2013?
He was pulling up.
Shit. Sorry, I was muted. Mr. J. Scheme says, he said YSL and Rock Crew, talking like it's two separate groups. Well, one of the foundations in the prosecution's case is that Rock Crew became YSL, even though the people testifying about this 4 or 5 months ago said no, they couldn't be a part of Rock Crew because that's raised on Cleveland. If you're not raised on Cleveland, you are not a part of Rock Crew. Rock Crew disappeared, apparently. And then some people in Rock Crew got into the music business in the YSL. But the prosecution desperately wants to say, no, it was all gang selling drugs, murder, robbery, every unsolved crime in the Atlanta area, they try to pin on YSL. And it's horribly bad.
Now, back then, do you know what kind of car Nut drove?
He had a GTO, red GTO. Then he painted. He wrecked it, then painted it black.
Did he ever have a blue truck?
Yes.
Now,
Leading.
how often would Peanut go to that area of the game street where the barbershops are?
Does it every day. That home to him.
Now, would he take the same route to get there?
Yes, sir.
What was that route?
Coming off Metropolitan, coming
How the
from like
fuck
the west
would you
end,
know?
you go up under the bridge.
Now, when Mr. Thomas Nut would get to the Daniel Street area, how would people react to that? Would people know he's there or not?
They'll put it like that. When he ain't around, it be dead. Like everybody know when he pull up, everybody get to pop him up from everywhere. Everybody just pop up.
Did people recognize his car in the area?
We did, like the homies did, like
Wait, one sec. Speculation? Mr. Sharp? Okay, I got it. Okay. I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Mr. Hendricks, you just said that. when
Yeah,
Don
he-
Thomas arrived on the
Yeah,
scene,
he's so cool.
everybody would come out. You remember that?
yes, sir.
How is it that everyone would come out when he arrived on the scene? How did they know he was there?
Like when he pull up,
Hold on, wait. Overruled. Now he can answer the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. You may answer, Mr. Hendricks.
like it'll be won't nobody be outside. Soon he pull up, like everybody know he there.
And with you being in that, you would be in that area about 5 or 6 days a week. Is that what you testified to?
I sustain the question as to form.
Mr. Hendricks, were you out in that area often when Mr. Thomas would?
Yes.
How would people, would there be would you be the only person outside or would other people?
A lot of people be
If this, let's say, former drug dealer and his mates all came out when Donovan Thomas got there, well, the prosecution has painted Mr. Thomas almost evangelical or angelical. Isn't that weird? That the drug dealers showed up when Donovan Thomas showed up. Now that's pure speculation from my part. Mr. Donovan Thomas is not on trial.
got that too.
How did they react when Donovan Thomas arrived to the location?
We gonna smoke. You know, they're gonna be outside smoking. We gonna get some blunts, go to the barbershop, get our haircut and stuff.
Would people other than yourself recognize his car when you drove up to the location you went to frequently?
I sustain it.
What the prosecution is going for here is that Donovan Thomas had to have been the target because everybody knew his car, everybody saw his car going there, and it's so stupid. Hello, Ghostery. I mean, it is pure speculation, but the judge allows it because he's a part of the prosecution's team.
Like when
Hold on, you can't answer the question when I sustain it, okay? All right.
Was Mr. Thomas well known in that neighborhood?
yes, sir.
Was he well known in the city of Atlanta?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever know someone by the name or their stage name is Lucci?
Yes, sir.
How did you know that?
When Lucifer came on the scene, he pulled up on me and told me to listen to him.
And when he told you to listen to him, does that mean his music had made it?
Yes, sir. And I told him that his $1 million.
Hearsay.
And who did you tell that's his $1 million?
Nut, I told that to Nut.
After you heard Lucci's music,
Yes, sir.
did Nut and Lucci have a relationship with one another?
Yes.
Were they friends?
Yes.
Were they close?
Yeah.
What part of the city is Life and Lucci from?
Summerhill.
Do people in Summerhill?
Hey, you know what? This random drug dealer says you're worth $1 million.
How
Nah,
close is Summerhill to Castleberry?
that's about a 10-minute walk.
Now, did you ever know someone by the stage name, Reginald?
Yes, sir.
How did you first know about him?
He used to pull up at Tesco with Mozzie.
Is that Texco on McDaniel?
Yeah, Tesco on McDaniel Street.
Now, you said Mozzie. Who's Mozzie?
Mozzie from East Atlanta.
When you first saw him, was Reginald Quan, how old would you say he was?
He was about 16, 17.
And did Donovan Thomas ever know or have a relationship with Reginald Quan?
Yes, sir.
What was that relationship?
On some music.
Did he have a music relationship with Wife and Lucci too?
Yes, sir.
How does this random drug dealer know all
Mr.
these
Hendricks,
things?
Is Donovan Thomas
Is it
alive
because
today?
No,
the
sir.
prosecution told
Where
him?
were you?
Because he was convicted last year? And is it a deal in the background? I have no idea. Pure speculation from my part, but apparently they're in civilian clothing. And it's not his first conviction I mean, I know somewhat about the system in Georgia. The more convictions you get, this even the smaller crimes get harsher punished. So how did he? How is he out now?
Day that he passed away.
I was right there on McDaniel Street.
Can you tell the jury how that day started for you?
I was just leaving my rooming house, and I was going to get me a haircut. I supposed to be going to the movie that night, so it was about 50 people out there. Everybody rushing in the barbershop
Why were people rushing the barbershop?
to get a haircut.
Did you, when you got to the barbershop, do you remember around what time you got there?
Around about 6 or 7.
And when there's a lot of people at the barbershop, how does it work when you wait for a haircut? You have to take a ticket, do they take your name, how does it work?
You got to just wait on your turn.
Now, did you wait inside or outside the barbershop?
Outside.
I'm gonna publish what's already been admitted as 6 Yankee, Your Honor. Mr. Hendricks, in a couple seconds, photographs gonna appear.
Rushing to get
on
a
that same
haircut.
screen.
Yeah.
And is this the barbershop?
Yeah, Mr. George barbershop.
And so you said that you were waiting outside when you were waiting for your haircut.
Yeah, on the side.
Did you see Nut out there?
Somebody that day?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Where was it?
He was in the parking lot right now.
I'm gonna publish what's already been admitted as 12 Yankee. Mr. Hendricks, another photograph appear at your side. Do you see the area where you saw Nut at after you came out of the barbershop?
Right up.
And Mr. Hendricks, I'm gonna show you something real quick. Touch screen. And so if you touch it, there'll be a red line. Can you circle where when you first saw Mr. Jonathan Thompson, you knew his nut at the barbershop that day, or outside the barbershop? Do you see his truck?
Right up.
And did you walk up and greet him when you saw him?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing with him while you were waiting for your haircut?
We were smoking. We had got some I had walked to the store and got some blunt.
What was the move? Did you go to Texaco to get those?
Yes, sir.
Did you, when you got back, what was the mood like outside?
It was some bad. You could tell it was something in the air how everybody was moving. It was some bad movement going on. You weren't feeling it.
What do you mean about that?
How everybody was like they know what something was going on. Folk pulling off, they moving all funny, the bad movement.
How was, back at that time, like in the weeks and months before the day that Nut was killed, would you see him often?
Yes.
Was he moving any different in that time frame?
Yes, like he felt something, like he wasn't acting like himself. Like he knows something, it was something in the air.
Now, I'm gonna publish, Mr. Hendricks, what's been marked as, and already admitted as 292 Yankee Golf. Another photograph is gonna come up on that screen. Now, I'm gonna help clear this. I'm gonna ask you if you see there we go. Now,
Well,
what
here
were
we
you
go
wearing
again.
that night, Mr.
Exact same videos, the
I had
exact
on a
same
black, on
photos
leather
again
coat.
and again
I
and
probably had
again.
on a t-shirt.
The
Do
difference
you
here
see
is
yourself in this photograph?
what comes later. They will actually cross-examine this guy.
I
For
can't
good
really
reason.
tell, but I was in the area. I know I was right there somewhere because he was right there.
Do you see Donald Thomas in this?
Right there?
Can you draw a circle around him? Now, Mr. Hendricks, do you see someone with black leather jacket in this photograph?
I can't really tell.
Sorry. I'm gonna, also, does Donald Thomas have anything on his head?
Yeah, skull cap.
Is that what he had that night?
Yeah, on black skull cap, I think.
Your Honor, I'm approaching the witness what's been already admitted as 215 Yankee Alpha. If any defense counsel wants to see it, okay. Now, Mr. Hendricks, I'm gonna give you some gloves. I'm gonna ask you to open this to see what's inside of it and if you recognize it.
I'm gonna put them on.
If you don't mind, sir. You can. Put some on with you, Jim.
Oh.
Now, Mr. Hendricks, I'm handing you what was inside of 215 Yankee Alpha. You let me know if you recognize that.
I don't recognize that.
Okay, that's perfectly fair. Thank you, sir.
All right.
I'll grab those gloves back from you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Now, how close were you to Nut while you were standing outside waiting for your haircut?
I real close. All of it right. I think didn't it? I think he had made it in there to get his haircut. I think he did.
And you said he had gotten his haircut and came outside?
Right. I think he did make it in there.
Now, while you were outside, was there anyone else you knew other than Peanut?
Yeah, it was a lot of it from the neighborhood. Some of them little boys from Summer Hill right now who doing all the funny movement. How they were going back and forth. You could tell something was going on.
Did you see anyone you knew was Tiger out there?
Yeah, he was out there.
How old would he have been back then?
Probably about 14.
Now, while you were standing, is this the photograph that's on the screen? Is this where, well, let me ask you this. While you were out there at this location standing next to Peanut, did anything happen?
Somebody at night.
Correct.
Like, be honest, like, we standing right now, so him, a great Pontiac pull across. It slow rolled across. Before it happened, for the Pontiac pulled out, I told you about the funny movement was going on, like, it was a call came through. So him, they had, the car had pulled out there when the Pontiac slow rolled across the barbershop. And it came out the teeth. They shot like 3 times when we were to see we got some guns. Soon they got right up by Nut, and when all the commotion happened.
I want to break some of that down. So you see how there's some headlights on the photograph on the screen? Was the car that you saw, was it coming that way down?
They were coming across from Mechanicsville way.
Would that be?
Where the railroad track is.
Okay. So you see how there's that light pole in this photograph on the screen, Mr. Hendricks?
It came from that way.
Okay. The same way that car is traveling?
Yeah, it came from that way.
And what stood out about the car that you saw? I mean, in terms of what drew your attention to it?
It slow rolled across, and first thing, it creeping across. Like on boys, you watching boys, anybody seen boys in the hood, you know it's a drive-by.
Were you able to get out anything before?
I tried to get it out before I get ready to tell them drive-by. They was already out the one, out the T.
And when you say out the T, what do you mean by that?
On sunroof.
What was the person out the sunroof doing?
He had a chopper with the mask over his face.
And did you see, what was that person that was with the chopper outside the sunroof doing? Were they looking around? What were they doing?
Like basically, like they were looking for their man. You know, you ride by, they say on the shooter, you ride by looking like where he at. You hit right here just to make the crowd move, and you went straight at your target.
Now, when that car got closer to where Peanut was standing, was there more or less shots?
All the shots.
And when you say a chopper, what do you mean by that?
A Honda shot, machine gun.
If you remember or recall, about how many shots did you hear from that machine gun?
Probably about 100.
Now, after the shooting starts, what did you do? What did you get shot? Let me ask you that.
Yes, sir.
Where did you get shot?
In the back.
Do you still have a scar there today?
Yes, sir.
Did you initially realize that you got shot?
I didn't know I was shot at first.
What did you do immediately after the shooting?
I had laid, be honest, I had laid that little tiger. I told him to play, don't move, play dead. You feel me? I had say him like, he gonna get back up and hop on, try to run.
And so you told Little Tiger to stay down?
Yeah,
Was he shot as well?
he got shot in the leg.
Now, I'm gonna publish what's already been admitted as 15 Yankee. Mr. Hendricks, another photograph is gonna come up. I'm gonna clear this. It's gonna pop right back up.
Let's see.
Do you see the area where you and Tiger went to after?
Why no court today? Administrative day? Because the judge said so. They were supposed to have a trial today, but nope. I mean, Friday they lost water. So courthouse had no water in the afternoon, and they just, screw it. And maybe they have the plumber there today. I have no idea. But it is an administrative day, and I will get caught up with the things I didn't have time to play last week. Like this pile of garbage. Thank you for being here, LaShawn. Thank you.
The shooting in this photograph?
We was right up by the car area. We was right up in that area somewhere.
On the ground to the,
To the right,
Okay.
on my right.
did you call out for any help?
Somebody was on the ground. Everybody was already at though.
Initially, did people realize that you and Tiger were back there?
Yeah. Eventually, yeah. It took a little minute because everybody was stuck. Cause like when Nut got shot, I seen the blood spit up out his mouth and everything.
Now, I'm gonna go back to 14 Yankee, Mr. Hendricks. There's gonna be another photograph gonna come up. Do you see what direction or where did Nut go after he was struck?
He was right at the barbershop. He was going in Nord barbershop. He was back, he's shooting, but he going back, he going to try to get in the barbershop.
To try to get to safety?
Right, try to get the safe.
Can you use this marker and just draw a big circle to the area that Nut ran to after the shooting?
Right here.
Did he ever make it inside the barbershop?
He's shooting, he's trying to open up, but somebody locked the door.
Now, did any medical personnel ever come out to treat you that night?
I went to Grady. Basically everybody met up at Grady. I seen when they rushed Nut to the hospital. Like, I was awoke. I seen when they brought him through.
You were already at Grady?
Yeah. I seen when they were pushing him through.
And did you get there via an ambulance?
Yes, sir.
How long were you, or did you have to stay there sometime?
Yeah, I had stayed there probably like a week.
Now, Mr. Hendricks, I'm also gonna publish what's already been admitted as 223 Yankee. Another photograph's gonna pop up on that same screen. Do you recognize what that is, Mr. Hendricks?
Phone look like my phone.
It looks like your phone.
Yeah.
Did you lose your phone?
Yes.
I'm gonna also show you what's already been admitted as 216 Yankee. Another photograph is gonna come up. Do you recognize that phone?
Now, I don't know who phone that is.
Now, after you got out of the hospital, did you still hang out or frequent the McDaniel area?
I had one on, I think I had one on my baby mama house.
Oh, forgot to mute while I did the clickety thing. Sorry. Well, yeah, he needed a new phone, needed an upgrade, so it was.
So, Mr. Hendricks,
At least he didn't have
after the
an
shooting,
order to not destroy it, as in the Karen Reed case, but
happened, did anyone else fire off any shots?
That other one shot. He shot about 3 or 4 times. Probably about 5 at the most. Try to bag him up. But when he shot, that made them pull it off though. That made them move.
It made the car keep moving?
Yeah, when he started shooting back, they thought he probably wasn't gonna shoot back.
this guy claims, contrary to everybody else, that Donovan Thomas shot back. How about that? Is it impossible? No, but nobody else said it, and there are nothing on video the prosecution has shown that says shots were fired back. And we watched
So,
the damn video a few times now.
You're talking about after the shots in the.
Right. So when they got to shooting, that shooting too, but when he started shooting back, that what made them speed off.
After they shot the automatic fire at him. Mr. Hendricks,
Hold on, I'm gonna overrule the objection. Go ahead.
you can answer.
Objection.
I sustain that one now.
Mr. Hendricks,
Only-
did you testify about what a chopper was?
Yes,
Did you say it was a machine gun?
yes,
I apologize, I said automatic weapon is after you heard the machine gun fire, you said about 100 rounds, was it after that you're saying Donovan Thomas fired back?
like when they shot, he started shooting too. That what made him speed off fast. So when they shoot, he had to shoot too, cause he don't have a gun on.
After they shot at him?
Right, they shot first.
Hold on. Hold on. Ms. Westmoreland, what was the base for your objection? Mr. Short, asked and answered. Mr. Short, what's the base? Okay, both objections are overruled.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks.
You're welcome.
State passes the witness.
All right, cross. Let's see, Mr. Weinstein, Mr. Matthews. All right, Mr. Williams.
Now things gets interesting.
Ms. Westmoreland.
Pay
Mr.
attention.
Sharp.
Let's go with Mr. Short first, apparently.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hendricks. My name is Max Shard. Nice to meet you.
Did he just flash a gang
Just want to make
sign?
sure I understand. You saw the pictures of the parking lot that the state presented, correct?
Yes,
Okay, where Donovan Thomas's truck was, correct?
yes,
Okay, and you were out there for a period of time before any shooting occurred,
yes.
okay? And how long, to your recollection, were you out there with Donovan Thomas and other people
We was out there about an hour or two together.
in that parking lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during that hour or two, did anyone go into the barber shops, and did you go get your hair cut during that hour or two?
It was about 20, 30 of us out there waiting on a haircut that night.
Okay. To your recollection, that during that hour and two, Did you go into either of the barbershops to get a haircut?
I ain't make it in there. I told you about 20, 30 folks out there waiting on the haircut. You got folks on the outside, then you got the barbershop packed in the inside too.
I understand. To your recollection, in that hour or two, did Donovan Thomas go into either barbershop to get his haircut?
I think that'd be
Good discussion in the chat at the moment. Shago, thank you for being here and setting the record straight. There was a gun in his truck. And in the video, you can see a guy in the white hoodie with a weapon-like object. Let's just say that. But in the video, and nothing the prosecution have moved forward says they fired back. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. Thank you for being here, Shago.
and I think he made it in there, and he just came back out and chilled.
Okay. When he came back out and chilled, how long after he came back out, to your words, chill, how much time passed before any shooting occurred?
For about 30 minutes.
Okay. So,
It probably wasn't even 30 minutes. Like it was a call. Somebody was working the phone.
well, let me ask you this. When the shooting occurred, Mr. Thomas was not walking out either of the barbershops when the shooting occurred.
He was on the lot. He was on the lot. That's why I said it was a call. Somebody made a call.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You said, if I correct me if I misheard you. Once the shooting started, Mr. Thomas started shooting.
They shot first.
Okay. Now, when you say they shot first, you're talking about from a car?
Right.
Okay. That car, your recollection, your testimony, did that car stop in the road?
Like when they first came from the railroad track, when they got right there by Mr. George, right there in the first little cut, it's an empty building right there. That Mr. George shot right there. We standing right there. They shot bow, bow, bow like a handgun. As soon as they got right there in front of that, they let all the wrong shots go.
Oh, okay. But did the car stop?
Yeah, it stopped. It stopped about a second or two.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say a second, probably about 20 seconds. Then they let all the shots at me.
The car stopped, your testimony is the car stopped for 20 seconds and that would have been in front of the barbershop?
Not exactly like in the
Did you see that in the video? I didn't. His claim is that this car drove up, stopped, started shooting, stayed there for 20 seconds. I didn't see that in... Yeah, 20 seconds is a long time for a drive-by. And he's the only one so far that testifies that somebody fired back. Now, the thumbnail says, liar, liar, pants on fire. Who is lying here? Is it this guy? Is it the previous witnesses? Is it the prosecution? Well, we can assume the prosecution are lying because they always do. But that car didn't stop in the video. And I saw nothing, no flashes or nothing that said they fired back. I don't think there was time for it. And here's the thing. The prosecution knows what this guy is testifying about. As Jacob Foley says, nobody's going to stay there 20 seconds when a gun is actively being fired. And Gat Black with me says, what about him saying a Bonneville? I thought the state said an Infinity was used. There's a lot of interesting things in this testimony. And the prosecution knows all of this.
parking lot. That wasn't that one.
In between the two barbershops?
Right.
The car stopped for 20 seconds. Okay. And Mr. Thomas, I understand that you're saying shots were already
Welcome to
fired, but
Sweden,
Mr.
Jacob.
Thomas started firing shots as well.
After they shot first.
I understand. I understand. Do you know what kind of gun Mr. Thomas was shooting?
He probably had a 9.
Do you know that for a fact, or are you speculating? You said he probably had a 9, so I'm
I
asking.
seen it. It was a handgun.
Okay.
Now he says he saw the gun.
To your recollection, were any of the other individuals that were out in that parking lot with you and Mr. Thomas, did any of those other individuals shoot?
No, sir.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Mr.
That
Adams.
was interesting. Let's see the next
Yes,
person. Mr. Adams. Yeah, as Ron Barnes says, a handgun is not necessarily a
Thomas is just
9mm. I agree.
It's not more.
Mr. Hendricks, I'm going to ask one more question. Do you know what happened to the gun that Mr. Thomas had?
No,
when he was
sir.
shooting?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, I have no question.
All right. Anyone I miss? Oh, Mr. Matthews, sorry. Go right ahead, sir.
Mr. Matthew, the best beard in court.
Good afternoon, sir. Just one or two questions. Did you see a gun out there that I like to refer to as a big pistol, kind of large, black, with look like it may have a handle?
No, sir.
Did you see that gun?
Objection, Your Honor.
No, sir.
What's the basis?
There's no facts and evidence of that.
I just asked him, did he see it?
Only big gun I seen.
Wait, just wait a second, wait a second. I'll sustain the question as to form. You might be able to rephrase, sir.
You were out there for some time in this.
He asked me, did I see a big pistol? Only big gun I seen when they came out that Bonneville at the T. That's the only big gun I seen.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Weinstein.
Mr. Weinstein. He's not.
Good afternoon.
Oh, this
How you doing?
this
I'm doing well.
good.
My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm Mr. Hendricks' attorney. So you testified that the car stopped for about 20 seconds, correct?
Yes, sir.
What's your degree of certainty that it would stop for around 20 seconds?
It paused. The car just stopped where we're going. They already know what they target was.
I understand. How certain are you of that?
I was standing right there.
Okay. Is that the same degree of certainty you have with the respect to you're saying that Mr. Thomas shot back?
They shot first.
I understand they shot first. Are you just as certain that Mr. Thomas shot back as you are that it paused for around 20 seconds?
Just put it like that. When they shot him first, he got a chance to shoot his gun too. So when he's shooting as he's spitting blood up.
Because you're standing right there, correct?
Yeah, I'm right there. He's showing as he's spitting blood up. He getting his shots out too.
Okay. Is that your same degree of certainty that it was a Pontiac?
It was a Bonneville.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Now that's interesting because the prosecution claims it was a totally different car. Yeah, as Get Black With Me says, this witness essentially implicated the people who were out there with Thomas. He said they were acting weird. So, again, as in my thumbnail, liar, liar, pants on fire. Who is the liar? Is it the other witnesses? Is it Mr. Hendricks? We know it's the prosecution because they lie by default. We didn't see the car stop in the video for 20 seconds. So is Mr. Hendricks just inventing things? Or, yeah. Trick question. They are all lying. It's Trinton. I think it's Trinton hit the nail on the head. Yeah, and who? Yeah, get back with me. Who made the call? What was the call Mr. Hendricks was talking about? Jacob Foley asked, why is this trial on break? Well, first, the courthouse lost water on Friday. And then Judge Glanville decided to have an administrative day today. So I'm catching up with things I missed last week. Thank you all for being here. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet.
Thank you. No more questions.
All right.
Bonneville. Yeah.
All right. State how you have any redirect.
No, Your Honor.
All right.
And no redirect. They gave up on this guy. But this was interesting. And also, it speaks to the absolute horse shit that is the
And
prosecution
Mr. Henry
case.
be permanently
Remember-
temporarily excused the witness.
Mr. Hendricks was so essential to the prosecution's case that he survived the cut the judge ordered the prosecution to make. This is the absolute best the prosecution has. It's Mr. Hendricks. Again, what the this is such a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. It's a waste of the court's time. I'll repeat it. Every day in this courtroom, they could have held 4 to 8 other cases, misdemeanors, car theft, home invasions, stuff like that. But the prosecution chooses to have this case instead. If this case lasts 200 trial days, that is between 800 and 1,600 victims and defendants who will not get their day in court. Yeah, as Gigi says, it was just one more chance to play the video. And as Stacey Lane says, it doesn't go with the state's opening arguments. Exactly. This trial literally cost $10 million. Yeah. And if it goes on for over a year, that number will just keep going up. That is money they could have used to make Fulton County Jail better. That is money they could have used for prosecuting cases that was actually worth prosecuting. But they chose this because Fannie Willis wanted to become the next Attorney General of Georgia. It's all political.
Mr. Hendricks may be permanently excused, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hendricks, sir, thank you for your patience with us. I'm going to permanently excuse you as a witness. You don't have to come back. And just don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right, summon Dr. Henninger, please.
Now it's a medical examiner. And I assume he's going to testify about the injuries.
Dr.
So far,
Henninger, good afternoon, sir.
absolutely nothing that points to anything towards the defendants.
Sir, if you would please approach the witness stand. Once you get there, if you'd be so kind to turn and face
Remember,
Sergeant Ingram to be sworn as a witness before.
the only Mr. Stilwell was charged twice. And they dropped the charges. It's former Assistant District Attorney Sprinkles who was the person who decided to drop it. And he will take the stand on this part of the prosecution's case later this week, I assume. And I like former ADA Sprinkles. He seems like an honest man. He doesn't want to prosecute shit cases.
Where you sit down.
You swear affirm that you tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
State the truth,
Okay. So my name is Dr. Michael Henninger, and it's spelled Michael and then Heninger.
Good afternoon, Dr. Hendricks. How are you?
Fine.
Are you currently employed?
Doc Brown, what happened? I thought you went back in time to get married in the Wild West. Doc Brown, somebody did you bad. Somebody did you bad.
I am retired, and I have kind of part-time job doing a little bit of what I've always done.
Okay, so let's first talk about your part-time job. Where's your part-time job?
Okay, my part-time job is over at DeKalb, at the DeKalb County Medical Examiner's office, and I work about maybe 7 days a month.
And how long have you been with the DeKalb County Medical Examiner's office?
Since I retired from the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office, which was in January of 2023.
And when you retired from the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office, how long had you worked at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office?
I started in 1995.
CC22, welcome to the show. Still charged with 2 M's on the indictment. Yeah, on this indictment, he is. Sprinkles, at the time back when this happened, dropped it twice, if I remember correctly. Now, if I don't remember correctly, you in the chat will definitely remind me, and that is why I so enjoy my chat. I really do. You make me better.
In July, and so it was about 27-something years.
And if you could tell the jury about the responsibilities of the Fulton County Medical Examiner's office.
Okay, so the medical examiner is a government agency. It's fairly small, and we are charged with investigating suspicious death.
Yeah. That's went into the military. They investigated.
Probably on average 3 or 4 feet, and maybe a little bit more on certain guns. So if you don't have any of that material on a person, then you can say that the gun is further away than that.
Yeah, so now no gun residue. So the gun was fired from a greater distance than 3 or 4 feet. We could have guessed from the video. We have been shown several times.
If you do have that, then you're pretty sure it's closer. And like everything, it's not perfect. There are times when you can be closer but not have the sort of stippling, like if there's intervening clothing or things like that. But it's a tool to try and figure out how close was the muzzle of the gun from the person. And it's not perfect. I can't say 100 feet instead of 150 feet or 1 foot instead of 5 feet. I mean, it's not that accurate. But you can kind of put it in 2 boxes, where close or further away. And then this is probably not as relevant, but if it's contact, that also has features that you can see because it's all concentrated right there. Same process, but it's in one spot instead of scattered.
2 Yankees admitted.
How old was he?
Okay, we were told he's 25 years old. Oh, excuse me, 26 years old.
And how tall was he?
He is.
What?
Okay, we measured him at 75 inches, which is 6'3", and he weighed 332 pounds.
And did you document his
That's a big
autopsy in
dude.
the same manner that you just discussed with photography?
Yes, I did.
That dude is just about my height, but he has 60 pounds on me. That's a big dude.
You got permission to approach?
You may.
And I'm showing Dr. Hendricks what's been given to the defense counsel as State's Exhibits 299 through State's Exhibit 321. Dr. Hendricks, if you take a moment and look at those, exhibits, tell me if you recognize. 299, excuse me, Yankee through 321 Yankee. 299.
299. Yes, I recognize these.
And how do you recognize 299 Yankee through 321 Yankee?
Okay, so almost all of them are numbered with an accession number. This associated with this case. There are also pictures I looked at in preparation for this trial very recently. Not, there's just 215s, several years ago, but I've looked at these several times in just the last few days and weeks, and I recognize them.
And do they appear to be fair and accurate depictions of the autopsy that you conducted on January 11, 2015?
Yes,
And we're looking at those pictures assist you in your testimony today about the injury sustained to Mr. Donovan Thomas.
they would greatly assist me.
You're right. This time to say what I did, Stacy Exhibit 299 through 321 Yankee into evidence.
Any further objection to states 299 Yankee through 321 Yankee?
On behalf of Mr. Williams.
Okay, all right, Mr. Shard, do you have a specific objection? All right, sir, so noted. It'll stay continuing. All right, madam.
Once you finish, permission to approach.
All right, they're admitted and may be published as you see fit. That's 299 Yankee through 321 Yankee. All right, did you wish to approach?
Yes, please.
All right.
Skipping ahead.
Good comfort break, so 10.
Comfort break. Let's skip ahead to after the comfort break. Dun dun dun.
Okay, so the 15 is
See here.
As Stacy Exhibit 2,
All right. Now we
admitted as Stacy Exhibit 299 Yankee. Now, when we talk about 299 Yankee, is this one of the shirts that came with Mr. Thomas in that bag that you just?
no, they are
Yes, it
not
is.
going.
Now, looking at 299 Yankee, there's a number at the bottom, 15-0062. Is there a significance about that number?
okay. That's our
The jury sees
session
the
number.
pictures.
So
we
that's
don't.
just for our officers use. The police and other people don't use this.
Very
This
good.
is basically his unique number.
I
So
missed that one.
everything that we do with him, it's going to have that number on it, so we can keep it straight from other cases.
And how do you come up with that number?
Okay, so the 15 is from 2015. And on January 1st, phone rings, first case of the year, it's 0001, and then 2 and 3 and 4. So by the 11th, this is the 62nd case that we've looked into. And so that's its number. It just goes through the year to the end of the year.
Now, looking at Stacy Exhibit 299 Yankee, there is what appears to be a red arrow. What was that meant to indicate or show?
Okay, there is if you look at that arrow,
Yeah,
does this,
yeah.
let me see.
Bottom left. To the left.
I've done this before, but I don't.
Sure have.
There.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so this allows me to touch the screen. Okay, there's this arrow right here, this little red arrow. And then it's pointing to a little white hole. This is a hole in his shirt. And the shirt is black. Okay, so this is kind of whatever, except for this is the hole over one of the gunshot wounds. So the importance of this is for me to look at it, say, is there any soot or stippling on it? Of course, it's black, so it's really hard to see.
And were you able to determine if there's any soot or stippling?
I didn't see any on there, but it could be hidden pretty easily.
All right. Now looking at what's been admitted, Stacy Exhibit 300.
It's a drive-by shooting. I would be immensely surprised if they actually found stipplings or gunshot residue. But what is interesting here is if Donovan Thomas fired back, there should be gunshot residue on him.
for Yankee?
Okay, let's see, there's a way to,
So there should be a trash can.
right there. Okay, so now there's another, this is the same shirt. This shirt is
Oh, nice. Bahira, oh, I'm going to butcher a name. My apologies beforehand. Bahira Resha Bay? Did I come close? I have no clue. Tell me at least if I came close. Hi from Florida. Cadillac Law will be attending YSL trial in August also. Yay! He recaps the YSL trial, and you and her had similar analysis of the trial. So I've heard. I haven't been caught up with Cadillac Law. I think I have to be, because I will be in Atlanta trying to get into the courtroom unless Fannie Willis sees me first and throws me in jail. Why would she do that? I don't know. Maybe because I keep telling everybody that she is a bad whore. She's such a bad whore, she has to pay Nathan Wade to do her. Yeah, but I will be there around the 14th of August. And if there is a trial day, I will try to be there.
this is the back of the shirt that we're looking at. It's been cut in here. Okay, and that's to think about when you go to the emergency room and they're gonna take people's clothes off in like seconds, you know, when they're in trouble. And so they're cut in front. Okay, so this is the back of the shirt. So think about the back of my shirt. This is the left side, the back of the shirt.
Yes, Ron.
And there are two holes
Gunshot residue
right
on
here,
his hand.
but they're in kind of the axillary or the armpit area where imagine clothing is, it can be folded. So, you know, if you have one bullet going through, it might go through two places. Okay. But there are two holes over there in the left part of this shirt.
Now looking at 301 Yankee.
Okay.
Is this the front of that same shirt?
Yeah. So you can see the front, you see where it's cut right here. And you can see over here on the left, the holes aren't as evident there, but there is, it's kind of this reddish color. There's blood on the shirt also. And it's hard to see, but that's kind of over there on the left side near those other, where those other holes were.
Looking at 302 Yankee. What if anything was significant with 302 Yankee?
I think it's the back of, no, it's not. It's
Should we show 303 Yankee?
yeah. Okay, this is a close, oh, you know, this is the other shirt. There were two shirts, and they're both black. This is the other shirt. And so the other shirt is similar to the first. It's got holes on the left.
It's scatterbrain.
And do you know which shirt he had on over the other at this point?
I don't.
Now I want to look at State's Exhibit 304 Yankee. When we're looking at State's Exhibit 304 Yankee, describe to the jury what we're looking at.
Okay, so after the body bag is opened, this is moments after the body bag was open, and we take a picture. This kind of shows us where we start. Okay, so I can see there's medical intervention. There's tubes in his mouth. There's some incisions on him that are closed up. You know, other devices. This thing on his arm is just a sheet wrapped up on his arm, and there's no clothing. So he didn't. If he had died where he was at the scene of where this happened, not taken to the hospital, they would leave the clothing on. So that kind of all fits together. It tells me where to start. These medical intervention things are very important because they can mimic injuries. So it's good to know, you know, they're there, be familiar with typical ones.
And what are some of the medical interventions? You talked about the face. What other medical interventions?
Okay, there's this incision that goes like this, comes across his chest. And that is for what's called a thoracotomy, or your thorax, going into their thorax. And that they open that up so they can kind of reach in and grab the heart and kind of squeeze it, try and get it to keep beating. Buy them a few more minutes so they get blood going. It could also be something they go in to try and fix anything they can see in there. There's another incision that goes vertically along here. And that's if they've got any kind of indication that there might be injuries in the abdomen. So they open that up and try and correct any injuries there. There was the ones I mentioned on his face. At least two tubes there, one for breathing, one into his stomach to take any stomach contents out. There's this right here is a oxygen monitor, his fingers, how much oxygen in his blood. And I think it's just hooked onto the rest of that. And there, those are the ones you can see in the picture. I have like 10 of them listed on here.
Now, after you open up the bag and you see the medical intervention, what do you do next?
Okay, well, we kind of, there's,
Go 305?
oops.
305.
So just keep, okay, so what we, this is kind of a process. You start kind of on the outside and work in. So you
He's a
start
bit
with the clothing,
scatterbrained,
and
isn't
remember
he?
image. Then you look at
He
the
really
body,
is
the
Doc
surface of the
Brown.
body. You're looking for trace evidence. You're looking for where the injuries, looking for blood patterns, because the next step, you're going to wash the body. So you want to not have lost any information from doing that. So you inspect it, make sure there's no really useful information from that. And then we wash the body. And then we examine it again, external surface, and we look for injuries, and we look for, disease processes, whatever we can see. So that's the first part of it. Second part is we open up the body and our standard excisions, and we look at the organs inside of the body, and then we take them out and we see which organs are damaged with diseases.
And did everything you just testified to, did you do that in this case?
Yes.
Now looking at State's Exhibit 306, Yankee, what's the purpose of this picture here?
This is the identification photo. Okay, this is we take a picture of his face, and it's got that accession number. And the real purpose of this is to kind of keep in mind, this is not just a project. He's a human being. This personalizes the case for us. This is who he is. It's like his picture. And sometimes it's used for identification, but there's not always.
Now, earlier you talked about seeing 2 holes on the shirt, the one on the back and then the one in the sleeve. How many entrance wounds did you find on the body?
I found I found 2 entrance wounds that were clearly entrance wounds.
We're going to look at State's Exhibit 307, Yankee. Looking at State's Exhibit 307, Yankee, what is being depicted in 307, Yankee?
Okay, this is his back. Okay, he's kind of rolled up on the table. And there's this little tag right here. This tag is got 2 inches, so it's 2 inches long, it's a ruler, and it's also got the accession number on it. Right above that tag is one of the entrance wounds. Okay, and you can see it's on kind of the left lumbar back, back here, this part of the back. There are some artifacts in here that are distracting and don't mean anything. There's these, you can see these round holes here, these little round things. This is the table. It's a stainless steel table, has holes for fluids to drain off the table and down the sink. And so those, when you lay if you lay a body on those holes, sometimes they make little red spots there. So they're not injuries. They're artifacts of the autopsy.
And earlier when you talked about perforating, penetrating gunshot wounds, this entrance wound that we're looking at here, was this a perforating or penetrating gunshot wound?
Okay, this is I just noticed this. This is a penetrating gunshot.
He just noticed that? Just now? From a photo when he did the autopsy? Now he sees it? Oh, I just noticed. This is a penetrating gunshot. From a photo. Why didn't you write that down at the time, Doc Brown? Jesus Christ, even the medical examiner is...
Okay.
If you could tell Jerry, where did this, what was the pathway?
Okay, so this gunshot wound, it goes into his back, into the muscles, goes into his spinal column, the bones. These bones are numbered from 1 to 5. And it goes through the first and second one. It goes through his right kidney. So his right kidney's on the other side. Okay. And then it goes through, the projectile is fragments into 2 big pieces, and it goes into his right rib. So it's 12 ribs. So it's going over here. And then the other one is just kind of moving about freely within his abdominal cavity, and it's down by the bladder. So it just got into his abdominal cavity, didn't get stuck in any tissues. So those are the 2 fragments.
And you talked about injury to his kidney. I'm going to show you what's been admitted State's Exhibit 310, Yankee.
Go back one more. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you, so I start really simple here. This is just pictures of kidneys, kind of like sitting in a body, like this, okay? So they're kind of bean shaped, and they're about this big, and they have blood vessels attached to them, and these tubes take the urine down to the bladder. So those are kidneys, okay?
Groceries over at
Next
Twitter.
309, Yankee.
Yeah, if you're watching on Twitter.
Okay, now this
Please
picture I
don't
looked
dig.
around. on the Google image to find this picture. Just, it's the best one for this particular gunshot wound. It's a picture of his back. Now, it's in the front. We're looking at him from the front in this picture. Okay. So, and it's kind of from the right side. So it's kind of like looking at him like this. Okay. And you can see these kidneys, okay, right here.
One of the reasons why I'm not skipping through this altogether is it at least it's evidence. It's not evidence against the defendants, but at least it's evidence. And we had so little of that we are 6 months into this trial. And finally, some type of physical evidence that actually have meaning. So it doesn't mean it's against the defendants, but it has meaning. It has evidentiary value, not towards the defendants, but it is still evidence. And after 6 months, I'm dried up. I want evidence. And this absolute horse shit prosecution doesn't give it because they are so bad at it.
Here, okay, and you can see this spinal column here. These vertebrae, if you count backwards on them, you can see where L1 and 2 are. They're in the same area. And so this gunshot wound, you can see how it goes through the right kidney. Oops, not what I've kind of in reverse order. It went through the lumbar vertebrae, through this kidney. And I also had other things that went through. And let's see, I think there also, I know what I was trying to remember. There is a suture, which is something a surgeon does. It's a little, where they take some thread, loop the hole, tie it. There's a little suture on what's called the inferior vena cava. Okay, and that's this vessel right here. Okay, now there's a big huge vessel that comes out of your heart, takes all the blood down through your body, your kidneys. It's called the aorta. It's right here. Can't see it very well. And next to it, it's this vena cava. It's taking all the blood back up to the body. And it's pretty large, not a lot of pressure, but it just, if it's injured, it just oozes and oozes blood. So you can see this is also damaged. This inferior vena cava, lumbar vertebrae, and this kidney. And then the bullets, one piece of it is over here on the rib. It's not on this picture. The other one, the bladder's down here somewhere. So this is where the 2 bullets are. So it's coming kind of like this.
And what kind of direction did you identify that?
Okay, so what we do for direction, there's an inherent problem with direction. I don't know what he was doing when he shot. Was he standing up? Was he sitting down? Anything. So what we do, solve this problem. We go back to medical school, we go back to anatomy, and we have this idea, it's called the anatomic position, like this, okay? And this is like because the bones cross, okay? So we put the body in our minds, we put it into anatomic position. And this is how we think. I think most physicians think of the body as if in anatomic position. So, and then we have some directions. We have up and down, right and left, front and back. So in anatomic position, this bullet goes through him from back to front, okay? Starts out on the left side, goes to the right side, and then it's slightly upward, okay? Now, if people are generally not in anatomic position when they get shot, but if you lean forward or backwards like this, you can change that up and down thing, okay? Obviously, if you turn, if this is right and left, if you turn all the way around, you can switch that around too. Right, left, back. So that's the direction of that bullet. All that tells us is it's like a snapshot. Well, for one instant, while that bullet traveled through his body, it was coming from his left to his right. Like this. And that's what you can learn from the direction.
And looking at State's Exhibit 311, Yankee, and when you talked about the kidney, is this what the damage was done?
Okay, so remember that picture with the 2 kidneys at the beginning? This is his kidney. This is his right kidney. They're on there as if, I'm sitting like this, okay? And this right here is damage from the kidney. It's torn it just about half. There's little pieces of tissue hold it together, and morcellated, this tissue in here. So that's the injury to the kidney.
When this injury occurred, would Mr. Thomas Jr. have immediately died at this point based off this injury?
No, not right off. The problem is this kidney is getting each kidney gets about 10% of your blood supply. You say kidney is about 20%. I mean, these are numbers or averages. But this is a big, huge hole that's bleeding. Also, that inferior vena cava is big. So what's happening is he's bleeding a lot internally. These kidneys are pretty deep back in the body. They're hard to get to surgically. I mean, I don't know that slows the Grady surgery down very much, but this is going to bleed, and it's likely that if something isn't done really quickly, like within like multiple minutes, that he's not going to make it. He's going to bleed to death from internal bleeding.
Would this injury cause Mr. Thomas to fall to the ground immediately, or what?
Your body's kind of designed to survive for a while. So everything clamps down and shunts all the blood towards the heart and the brain, shunts it away from all the organs, shunts it towards the muscles. This was, I guess, from some remote, or primitive history or whatever, so we could keep fighting for as long as possible. Those kind of reflexes will kick in. But within a few minutes, the blood drains out of the blood vessels and into the abdomen, other places. It's not doing any good. You start to lose blood pressure, get dizzy, collapse. And then a few minutes after that, there's not enough blood to keep your brain cells alive. And your brain cells dying. Each group of cells dies at different times, so it's not like an instant. But within a few minutes, he's going to collapse and basically die.
Now, you talked about some bullet or fragments being found inside of this pathway. I'm going to show you what's been admitted as Exhibit 312 Yankee and also 313 Yankee. Looking at both 312 Yankee and 313, are those what you found inside of this pathway?
Yes.
Hey,
Going
Sylvia.
back to 312.
Yeah, maybe Prosecutor Love haven't had her daily dose of blood from innocent children. I don't know.
Yes. And this is what I do with bullets. Most people do something similar. But I got this sticker. It's got his name, our accession number on it, and the date. And I write in my handwriting where I got this bullet from, right lateral ninth rib, and I put my initials on it. And this is it's an irregular piece of metal. It's got a jacket on it. It's kind of pointed. It looks kind of like this instead of like this. So that, and I'm not a bullet expert, but I've seen a lot of these. But those tend to be higher velocity bullets, but it's pretty small. To further characterize that bullet scientifically, I would defer to a gunshot bullet person. That's what it's kind of their area.
Looking at 313 Yankee, is that the other fragment that you found kind of floating, like you said, in the body?
Yeah, it's this is the other half of it. Can you see? Yeah. Okay, now the interesting thing about this, when I first pulled these out and the blood on them and stuff, wash them off and look at them, I'm like, those two fragments, Then I started looking at them, and they actually fit together. I can fit them together pretty good. They're not perfect because they're deformed, but they're actually from one bullet that's broken in half.
Now looking at State's Exhibit 314 Yankee. What are we looking at State's Exhibit 314 Yankee?
Okay, so this is the left side of Mr. Thomas. Okay, and we're looking at, for the purposes of this picture, that we're looking at this right here, and this right here, the little one on his arm here. This is an entrance wound. Okay, this is the second entrance wound I saw. So one on his back, so one on his arm.
And is the entrance wound on the back consistent with that hole that we saw at the back of his shirt earlier in the earlier exhibit?
Yes, there's two entrance wounds. There's two holes. Well, one's a group of holes, but there's two locations with holes in the shirt, and they do match the pictures on his body. Obviously, clothing isn't a good perfect match. People can have their clothes pulled, it can be, worn in different unusual ways or whatever. So there's not clothing can't take that totally to the bank. But when you see it, and you see the.
Oh, Gigi, so, we know he passed away. So what does this testimony do besides pull at the heartstrings? This is purely pulling heartstrings. We know he's dead. We know it was from gunshot. The medical examiner could have pointed this out with a diagram if he wanted to. But in modern trials, you always show autopsy photos, because that makes jurors be uncomfortable and angry. Somebody did this to this young man. Somebody has to pay for it. And that will be the defendants, even though, according to evidence, in my opinion, shows they had nothing to do with it. So it's pure heartstrings, pure heartstrings.
Body, which those holes don't move around. And the shirt, they kind of all fit together.
And with the same thing with the two holes we saw in the shirt earlier, is that consistent with the exhibit with the entrance wound that you circled in 314Y?
Yes.
Now, looking at State's Exhibit 315 Yankee, is that a close-up of the entrance wound that we just discussed?
Yes, and this is important because this one, the other one was pretty easy. There's a hole and there's a bullet, so it's an entrance wound. This one's got a little bit more complexity to it. So this is important. This picture's, and it is characteristic of an entrance wound. It's not characteristic of a exit wound or an irregular wound.
How are
Okay?
you able to determine that this is a characteristic of an entrance?
Okay, entrance wounds, when the bullets, they're coming pretty fast and they hit the skin, they're spinning. As they punch through the skin, they abrade the edge. And if the bullet is coming through, use this. This is an arm. The bullet's coming straight on. It'll create a nice little round hole with an abrasion around it. The bullet is coming at an angle like this. It'll create an abrasion, maybe a furrow, kind of deeper in the skin, and then it'll go through. Okay, but it'll still have this abrasion. Okay, this gunshot wound has got an abrasion here along this edge, real thin one there, a thicker, irregular one here. So this suggests a bullet is coming in at an angle, and it's an entrance wound. Okay, because of the abrasions.
Now, looking at State's Exhibit 316 Yankee,
Okay, now this, where things get a little bit more complicated, but this bullet, the entrance wound is kind of hidden behind this arm over in here. Okay, this is, and I have to do this through dissection and show the pathway, and also I can put probes in them sometimes. But this entrance wound connects to this hole here. So this is an exit wound.
and how are you determining that's an exit wound?
It doesn't have the abrasion, and it's kind of torn out. When they come out, bullets are often tumbling. They might be deformed if they hit anything hard. They tend to tear out, tend to be irregular, and they don't have abrasions. So this is an exit to that. This right here is kind of a perplexing one. It's close to this incision, but there's a pathway that comes down like this inside the body, okay, that connects, kind of jumps through, they cut through it, and it connects to that, okay? And this right here, if you take the arm, I got it like this, if you take this arm, put it down next to each other, okay, this is where it's gonna fold. If you would imagine this right here, folding it up like that, with his arms down here like this, those two are touching. So this bullet, I think, went out and right back in through that. Okay? So this is a re-entry wound. I think it's all one gunshot wounds now. Entrance, exit, re-entry, projectile.
Shago says, Nick, do you watch Infamous Sylvia recaps? I do. I enjoy it a lot. She has said a lot of the jury has checked out of the case and is not paying attention. I'm not surprised. I mean, I practice law. I have a law degree. And I'm bored out of my skull. I'm fighting my ass off to make it interesting for you guys. Because I made the promise I would cover this trial from gavel to gavel. I can't imagine how bored the jury is. The only time I can see them pay attention is cross-examination. And I hope that they will take, when this case concludes in 45 years or so, I hope they will take 45 minutes to come back with a not guilty verdict, just to put a foot up the arse of the prosecution. That is my hope.
Which leaves this defect up here to deal with. Now, when a bullet is going at a high velocity and when it's damaging skin and tearing skin, you can see this made this huge hole. It's either tumbling.
And Dr. Hendricks, I don't know if the circle came out, which hole are you?
Listen, there's a lot of energy associated with that. And I think if that arm's kind of held against his body like that, I think this is kind of like collateral damage. There's like concussive waves of energy that tear things. And this is characteristic of higher velocity bullets where you get a lot of damage, particularly where they come out and tissue gets torn. So I think this is a is due to just part of, it's just in the, collateral damage, basically. It's part of the injury, but there's no pathways through this. It's just a tear. And there's other, I guess you could try and think of other ways to get a tear, but it's kind of seems like there's just what's going on right there within a couple of inches, probably all the way.
And from this entry, back to every entry, what was the pathway of the bullet once it re-entered?
Okay, this,
Shago, I wish I knew how the dad is sitting in the courtroom while being in line to testify this week. I wish I knew. I feel very sad for the father, and I expressed that in my previous stream, that I understand him. If it was my kid, I would want somebody to pay too. It's human reaction. It's normal human behavior. But this is a court of law, and he should not be able to testify about certain things. That's not due process. I believe it's pure evil from the prosecution to tear up all these old wounds. But I understand him. I understand why he wants somebody to pay for it, because nobody so far has paid for it. And my opinion is, it is because Fulton County cops, which we have seen a good bunch of in this trial, are either really, really horribly bad at their job or corrupt, with a few exceptions in this trial. Maybe a handful of good cops I've seen. This medical examiner is honest about his findings because he's gray and boring and sticks to the facts. He's good. The rest of them, horse shit. You had Detective Velasquez in the beginning of this trial admitting on the stand under oath that he destroys evidence if he doesn't like what it says. He takes statements from witnesses, and if he doesn't like it, he erases it until he gets the story he likes. That him even being listened to in a trial is a mockery of justice. And that ass has a TV show with another of the cops in this trial. Those two shouldn't be listened to at all.
usually when I see these, I'm thinking about internal organs. In this case, he's pretty big and thick. It didn't get inside of his ribs. It stayed out of his ribs. It stayed into his soft tissues all the way down through him. And this one was the one that was recovered down here in his abdomen. It's actually come down pretty steep. Okay, now, so it didn't get into his body, but again, this is a high velocity bullet. It has a lot of energy around it. There were bruises on his heart and his lungs. And some of those you can maybe blame on the trying to resuscitate him when they're trying to squeeze his heart. Maybe they squeezed it too hard or whatever, but they don't squeeze lungs. Okay. And so some of this is from the gunshot wound. So he's got bruising of those organs.
And looking at, you said he had bruising on some of his organs. Would any of that bruising cause Mr. Thomas to maybe spit up any type of blood?
He might. The lungs are very fragile. You can think of, they're like a sponge. Okay. And if you start messing with the sponge, you know, if it's fragile, you could tear little walls of the bubbles of the sponge. If any of that gets injured, they can get blood inside the airway. And when you're breathing in that, you might breathe some of it out. It might be enough to spit out. It might not, I don't think it'd be very much. So I don't really know for sure. I think it's like a definite maybe. Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. So there is injury to the lungs that could cause it, but on the other hand, it might be not that much. So I don't know.
Now, looking at Exhibit 317, Yankee.
Okay, of course.
What is the 317, Yankee?
All right, so this is the other bullet.
Now, we are listening to him a good deal now. And he is extremely factual. Extremely factual. But I wanted to first show you this because it's a sidebar. And you know what that means? It is Sidebar counter 193. Yeah, Shago, we have gained nothing from this testimony except for once in this trial actual facts from an unbiased person. This guy does his job. It's not his fault. The prosecution is absolutely horrible, and the cops are either bad or corrupt. It's not his fault. I don't blame Doc Brown for retiring or even trying to get an extra income 7 days a month. He earned it. This medical examiner is a good one. Factual and nothing else. So that brings us to the end of day 83. And more or less nothing else happens. They are there. They are preparing for Donovan Thomas Sr. This week. So I guess he is up from Tuesday, Wednesday. I will continue to do recaps of this trial. But as I said in the beginning of this stream, I need some variation. I've been covering this almost daily for 6 months. And I started covering this case in May of last year. That's over a year ago. So I will be covering the Florida versus Wade Wilson, not Deadpool, but his name is actually Wade Wilson. Nick, was the medical examiner claiming more than one bullet? Yes, he did. Did I freeze? No. And yeah, that's it for today. For my part, thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me to do this. And I will see you all back here tomorrow or Wednesday for Young Thug. Tomorrow will be more about the Wade Wilson case. But I will keep doing these recaps on the Young Thug case. But I need variation. I will be sending you all off to Broken Baker and Valhalla Waits doing the Karen Reed case. Thank you again. Hug your family. Unless your family is crap, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. Okay? See you. Bye-bye.